Ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is set for one episode. Your host from Columbus, Ohio, is Michael Kirk. Welcome to the Outlaw Mudcast. Hello and welcome to the Outlaw Mudcast, your digital audio dirt sheet for all things Supershow. Let's start off this week talking about convention news. We have news about Grand Gathering 5 taking place in September, Westlake, Ohio, near Cleveland. A couple of things. First, the surveys for Grand Gathering 5 have been emailed out. So people who have bought their tickets already have been given surveys. These surveys are asking questions like what time you're going to be there. Are you going to be there Thursday night, Friday? Are you going to be in the Grand Battle? What competitors would you like to potentially draft for the Grand Battle? They'll ask you to list, I believe it's your top 3 choices in order. They want your Grand Battle entrance music, things like that. You have until August 24th to email those surveys in. That's a week from today as I'm recording this, August 17th. I highly encourage you to get these in on time, especially if you're participating in the Grand Battle. Your Grand Battle draft is going to depend on this. Who you're going to get as your competitor in the Grand Battle will greatly be affected by when these surveys get to John Calais. So email them on time. You don't want to miss out on getting the competitor you want for the Grand Battle because your survey was late. We also learned things about Grand Gathering 5's tournament structure from the email containing the survey. Here are the events. Thursday night, there may be a singles tournament. The Grand Gathering is officially scheduled from September 19th through September 21st. That's Friday to Sunday. Now, SRG Universe has in the past tried to get into the play space that they book at the hotel Thursday night. They did last year, for example, get into the play space. But they never guarantee it. So they're going to try to get into the play space on Thursday night, the 18th. If they can, they will run an event. That's just going to be dependent on if they can get into the space. So potential pre-show Thursday night event. Friday, there will be 2 tournaments. Saturday, there will be 1 tournament and the Grand Battle tournament. So 2 tournaments total, one of which will be the Grand Battle. Sunday, there will just be 1 tournament. So 5 tournaments in the official Grand Gathering 5, plus the 1 pre-show tournament if they're able to get into the space Thursday night. That's the tournament structure. These tournaments may include a Create a Competitor tournament. We will have to see. That could be on the schedule. They will also be running draft tournaments, draft pods, if people are interested in doing that throughout the weekend. So if there's time between tournaments or people get eliminated from a tournament, they want to do a draft pod, those are possibilities. That could be happening. There's going to be an ongoing challenge throughout the weekend. No details on that, just that it will be going on. And we may see sometime during the weekend a late night event. This could be Friday night, could be Saturday night, where the winner of the event will be able to create a competitor for the Supershow board game. That's what we know about the event structure potentially for Grand Gathering 5. That was what was included in the surveys, which are due next Sunday, August 24th. That's the Grand Gathering 5 news. DragonCon news. We have seen what the promo cards are going to be for DragonCon. Let me read off what those are. There are 4 promo cards for DragonCon that were shown on the last episode of Talk of the Universe. The first was the entrance I talked about last week. You've got to fight your way out. There has been a major change to that entrance. It won't just be on the opponent of the person using the entrance. The effect will cover both players. The player using the entrance and that player's opponent. That's been a change. Otherwise, it's the same as we talked about last week. I believe we also talked about last week the additional effect where if the player using the entrance, once a game hits a follow-up on their turn that has the stop sign icon, they can draw a card. I believe we talked about that as well. But that's the big change to You Got to Fight Your Way Out, that entrance. It will now cover both players. The next two promo cards are both follow-up grapples at number 17. The first is a full-out card, Dragon Suplex. Your next turn is +1 for each grapple you have in play. This will count itself when you play it. So when you play this card, if it hits, goes into play, you will get at least +1 till your next turn. The other promo card at number 17, follow-up grapple, Dragon Fire Slam. This is a full art Super Lucha card. A new Super Lucha card. If you have another follow-up in play, look at the top 4 cards of your deck. Put one in your hand and flip the others. So, a good card for thinning out a deck, a good card for competitors that have gimmicks that trigger off you flipping. Nice new addition, great keywords, dragon keyword, fire keyword, slam keyword. Of course, the other one had dragon and suplex. So a lot of great keywords in these cards. The final card we saw releasing at Dragon Con, which doesn't have the Dragon Con logo on it, so it may or may not be an official Dragon Con promo. It's a new finish for the Michael Mosley King of Cosplay competitor. It's a finish submission at number 30, Sack of All Trades. +1 to strike, +3 to submission. Reveal any number of Michael Mosley logoed competitor cards. Choose one Michael Mosley logoed revealed competitor card equal to the crowd meter +1 and add their gimmick to yours for the rest of the match. So, for example, at crowd meter 0, you hit this finish, you'd reveal one competitor card for Michael Mosley and add that competitor's gimmick to the Michael Mosley gimmick you're already using. At crowd meter 1, you'd add 2. Crowd meter 2, you'd add 3. So on and so forth. Potentially, you could add every Michael Mosley gimmick to your competitor in total. Now, to explain briefly, there are 7 different versions, as I recall, of the Michael Mosley competitor. There's one version that lets you reveal any of the other 6 and add them to your gimmick at the start of the match. So at the start of the match, you're going to have at least one of those competitors' gimmicks. Either you're going to use the one that lets you add one, or if you don't have that version, you'll be using a version that just has the gimmick normally. And then this competitor finish could potentially let you add the other 5 gimmicks to the gimmick you already have. Very strong new finish for Michael Mosley. This is all the news I have about Dragon Con. This is the Dragon Con update, but here's a good place to talk about some rules things that have come up over the week. Because after this competitor finish was released, they talked about some rules things. One of them is a rule in Supershow that generally cards are considered unique. For example, let's talk about the Michael Mosley real quick. So, the 6 Michael Mosley cards that exist that have gimmicks on them are all based on your opponent rolling one of the 6 skills. There's one that triggers when your opponent rolls power, one that triggers when they roll agility, strike, so on and so forth. So let's say you have already the gimmick that triggers when your opponent rolls power. Could you use the Michael Mosley finish, this submission finish, Sack of All Trades, to add a second copy of the gimmick that triggers when you roll power? So you would get 2 gimmicks, or you would essentially double up on the gimmick when your opponent rolls power? No. You cannot double up in that way. Things like that are considered unique. There were some additional rules discussions that happened after this discussion involving the Michael Mosley new competitor finish. One of those was about how do cards like Set Up the Ladder that add text to finish cards, how do they interact with finishes that have been blanked? So, for example, let's say your opponent is using the card Impact His Family that blanks all Spotlight finishes. You have a Spotlight finish in your deck. I'll use Smack with a Shovel. It's a generic at 28. It's a Spotlight finish. If you play Set Up the Ladder, which has, as part of its text, finish strikes have the added text, your finish rolls are +1. If you hit Set Up the Ladder, have that in play, and then go to play Smack with a Shovel, does Smack with a Shovel have the added text, your finish rolls are +1? The answer is yes. The logic essentially is this. An effect like the Impact His Family entrance effect is a constant effect. As long as Impact His Family is active, that effect will be going on. But if a newer constant effect comes in, that effect supersedes the previous one. So, putting in an effect that adds text will add text even though the finish is blanked. It doesn't unblank the finish completely, but it does add that text. This concept of stacking constants and how they interact also came up with a competitor like Night Terror. Night Terror says, at the start of your match, choose one opponent and blank their gimmick. That's roughly what it says. What happens if the opponent whose gimmick is blanked hits a card like Fisherman's Suplex, which says, as part of its text, unblank your gimmick? Well, the gimmick from Night Terror is a constant. The Fisherman's Suplex effect is also a constant, so it overrides the Night Terror blanking, and your gimmick is unblanked. Now, if Fisherman's Suplex leaves play, that constant is gone. The Night Terror gimmick blanking constant goes back into effect because it was never shut off. It never went away. It was just superseded by a new constant effect. That's how effects like that work. So if you're curious how those type of things stack, that's how that works. When it comes to a constant effect, the newer constant effect supersedes the older constant effect. One last rules thing, although I don't really consider it a rules thing, that came up earlier in the week involves the gimmick for the Latin Lover Swindle Heat. The Latin Lover Swindle Heat has a gimmick that allows you to, 3 times a match, prevent your opponent from playing a finish against you. Now, there is a spectacle, an unfortunate twist, that allows you to add a 4th instance, a 4th usage of a gimmick to a gimmick you can only use 3 times a match. There's also an entrance card, the Witch entrance card, I don't remember the full name off the top of my head, that allows you to replace a 3 times per match clause in a gimmick with a 5 times per match clause. So you could make it go from 3 to 5 or 3 to 4. In tournaments, the tournament organizer has the right to say you can't use an unfortunate twist or the Witch entrance with the Latin Lover Swindle Heat. Tournament organizers reserve the right to book certain combinations of spectacles, entrances, and competitors. This isn't really new, and this isn't really a rules change, because you could still use, in certain events, if the tournament organizer permits, an unfortunate twist with the Latin Lover Swindle Heat. You're still allowed to do that. It's just, be aware that those things could be booked. They call it a rules change, but for me it's more of a booking restriction. Just be aware of that if you're going to play competitors like the Latin Lover Swindle Heat. Reach out to the tournament organizer, ask if there will be any booking restrictions regarding this competitor. That's all the news I have concerning rules. I do have one more brief convention news update. I talked last week about the Nova Open, which is happening the same weekend as Dragon Con. Steve Resk, the CEO of SRG Universe, will be at the Nova Open Wednesday through Friday of Labor Day weekend. He will then travel to Dragon Con and be in attendance Saturday and Sunday. So there will be an SRG Universe presence at Nova Open in Washington, D.C. That's all the news we have about it, but it is confirmed Steve Resk will be there representing SRG Universe. One last bit of event news. We have a date for the next Create a Competitor tournament being run by the Georgia Play Group. Level Up Games will run their Create a Competitor tournament November 8th. Duluth, Georgia, at Level Up Games. That's the name of the store. They will have their big Create a Competitor tournament. So if you're thinking about going to that, start making your plans now. There's an official date, November 8th. That is all of the convention news that I have. Let's talk about some award news. Candy Shop Talk this past Friday did their annual Candy Shop Talk Awards. I was not able to catch all of the broadcast, but I do have the list of nominees and winners that they came up with on the show. I'm going to give you this in the order it was given to me. The first award of the second annual Candy Shop Talk Awards was for Tag Team of the Year. The nominees were the New Hotness, the High Class Tag Team of the Grump and Colby Cram, the Real Beater Tag Team of Commissioner Drew Madsen and Dr. Pollywood, the Protectors of the Light, and the PAX Unplugged Tag Team Tournament winners, Chris Pate and Jared Bridge, with the winners, your current LFF Tag Team Champions, the Grump and Colby Cram. Congratulations to them for winning Tag Team of the Year. The next award, Feud of the Year. The nominees, Swaggy versus His Eyes, Simple Chuck versus El Hombre Cybernetica, Rambo Apocalypse versus Young Allergy, Commissioner Drew Madsen versus the Tag Team Division, and Ref Dave versus Hit Ref versus Bad Boy Ref. Your winner, Commissioner Drew Madsen versus the Tag Team Division. The third award, General Manager of the Year. The nominees, Robert the Brain Dunn, Candyman, the Goat Brock Smith, the Italian Bombada, and Brimelight, who was the General Manager for Southern Fried Gaming Expo. Bob Dunn, the Underworld General Manager, Candyman, the Tag Team General Manager, the Goat Brock Smith, the United States Division General Manager, and the Italian Bombada, the Trios General Manager. I should have mentioned that earlier. The winner, Robert the Brain Dunn. Congratulations to the Brain for that. Next award, Gimmick of the Year. Nominees, Money Ref, Ref Dave, Bad Boy Ref, and Mitchell. All of these were Ref Dave gimmicks. Ref Dave wins in the Bad Boy Ref persona. Face of the Year, Juan Cena, the Lethal Endorser, T, the Mad Custodian, the Unionverse, and the Candy Shop Talk viewers, with the winners largely because they helped get a level 12 hype train for the Twitch broadcast, the Candy Shop Talk viewers. Congratulations to them for winning Face of the Year. Heel of the Year, Swaggy D's Eyes, the Prize Fighter Simon Dabner, the Goat Brock Smith, Crime Wave Black Magic and Faction Wars, and Matty Bar 1. Those were the nominees. The winner, the Goat Brock Smith. Breakout Star, the Chosen One Colby Cram, Ref Dave, Rowdy Ron, the Lethal Endorser, and Swaggy D's Eyes were the nominees. The winner, Ref Dave. Botch of the Year, Ricky Riot using a spectacle in his shot at the LFF Tag Team Championship to grab a stop for a finish submission at number 26 that turned out to not be a live stop. Even though he had a live stop in his deck at his number 14 he could have used. That's the first nominee. Sam Torres versus Yasmin in the number one contender match for the LFF Tornado Tag Team Championship, where Sam Torres at crowd meter 0 rolls a 21, should have won the match outright, didn't realize it, and then goes on to lose the match to Yasmin. Yasmin getting the future shot. Norseman versus Ref Dave. Ref Dave hitting a finish against the Norseman when Ref Dave did not have a follow-up in play, just 2 leads. The Sunday Night Fights broadcast cutting out during the LFF Tri-State Tag Team Championship match and having to essentially restart the broadcast. And then the final nominee for Botch of the Year, the creation of 64-bit Casey's finishes, which won. 64-bit Casey's finishers won Botch of the Year. Best mic skills. The GOAT Brock Smith, Rambo Apocalypse, the Lucha Maniacal Uberstar, Titan, and Commissioner Drew Madsen were the nominees. The winner, Titan. Match of the Year. The nominees. El Hombre Cybernetico versus Colby Cram. Spring Breakdown. The finals of Gen Con, Rowdy Ron versus James Booker. The finals of the Southern Fried Gaming Expo Creative Competitor Tournaments, Simple Chuck versus Piglets. The number one contender match on Sunday Night Fights between James Booker and Candyman Dan. And the Pixel Pals Pandemonium Creative Competitor Tournament finals between Ricky Riot and King Pink. The winner, Spring Breakdown. Moment of the Year. Brian Waitford-Schmidt coming on the Big Picture Premium Twitch channel, playing the character Boss McMahon, the SRG boss as Vince McMahon. Titan proposing at Southern Fried Gaming Expo. Commissioner Drew Madsen and everyone's enemy cosplaying as Candyman at Southern Fried Gaming Expo. Ref Dave shaving his head on Candy Shop Talk. And Mike Santana and Joe Hendry signing with SRG Universe with Supershow the Game were the nominees for Moment of the Year. The winner, Titan proposing marriage at Southern Fried Gaming Expo. Rookie of the Year, only 2 nominees. Sam Torres and Mike Benton. The winner, Sam Torres. Catchphrase of the Year. Ring the bell from Ref Dave. Like and subscribe from the influencer Owen Conklin. Backy, backy, back from the back. Detroit from the GOAT Brock Smith. And disgusting from the Possum King with the winner, Possum King. Promo of the Year, the nominees. Practice Site enters the Lucha Maniacal Uberstar in the Super Show Olympics. HR joins Think Tank. El Gordo Americano debuts in the Legendary Fighting Federation. Mitchell brainwashes the GOAT Brock Smith. And Johnny Korea's summer camp, where Johnny North Korea makes Piglet eat pork. The winner, Mitchell brainwashing the GOAT. Show of the Year. The nominees: Candy Shop Talk, Stacked Card, a special edition of Candy Shop Talk, Ron's Super Show Sunday, Ron Rumble's show, and Ignite. The winner, Candy Shop Talk. Honorable mention to this show. I get it. Promote yourselves. Of course you should name yourself the winner on your own award show. If you're not going to support yourselves, who will? Player of the Year. The prizefighter Simon Davner, Bob Dunn, the GOAT Brock Smith, the Starbreaker Trey Cantrell, and the Chosen One Colby Cram are the nominees. The winner, the Starbreaker. Doctor of the Year. 1 nominee. The chiropractor for the LFF, Dr. Pollywood. I believe he won. He was the only nominee. Newspaper of the Year. Titan, the only nominee. I assume he won. Champion of the Year, the final award I have, the nominees, the Italian Bombata, General Lee Wong, Zach Ashley, Robert the Brain Dunn, and Simple Chuck, with the winner, Zach Atchley. Congratulations to Zach Atchley. This is a good idea for who potentially could win the award for the SRG Awards at the end of the year. I like that Candy Shop Talk does this. A lot of good things in here, a lot of things that I didn't remember. I probably, just looking at this list, I would have gone with the GOAT's catchphrase as catchphrase of the year. That's the one that really stuck out to me. But a lot of good information in this award listing, so I would definitely check that out. And probably check out Candy Shop Talk as well to see what they had. I know HR was a guest on the show, so if you want to see what she brought to the show, check that out. I have some championship news, some announcements about various championship things. First, for the LFF Underworld Championship, the next defense will be at Grand Gathering 5. The champion is Brian Waitfort-Schmidt, champion with Deathmatch King Matt Cardona. His opponent is going to be Candyman Dan. Candyman Dan earned this shot from success he had at last year's Grand Gathering. He's going to use Sherry Von Danish and challenge for the championship in a Ring of Fire match. Continuing on with championship matches at Grand Gathering 5. There will be a United States championship match at Grand Gathering 5. Yasmin will challenge the current champion, Ref Dave, for that championship at Grand Gathering 5. Those are the Grand Gathering matches I have. Some announcement about the LFF Tri-State Tag Team Championship. The next contenders for that championship will be the tag team of Brian Waitfort-Schmidt and the Italian Bombata. They will take on the current champions, the Tartan Terror, and the Star Maker Everett Stevens. The winner of that match will go on to face the tag team of Candyman and Steven Moonstar. Those are the next challengers after Brian Waitfort-Schmidt and the Italian Bombata. The final bit of championship news I have is that next Wednesday, after Talk of the Universe, we will see a defense of the LFF Trios Championship. The champion, the Collector Sean Loeb, champion with the League of Extraordinary Grapplers, will take on Robert the Brain Dunn, the challenger. I assume Robert the Brain Dunn is going to be using Thinky and the Brains. I know that is the competitor he won the opportunity to challenge for the belt with. Now, that competitor, last I checked, had not yet been released, so I don't know if he's using that competitor, substituting someone else. We'll have to see. But that is the next LFF Trios Championship match. The winner will go on to defend against the big guy at Grand Gathering 5. That is what I have for you outside of the online tournaments and featured matches from this past week. So let's go through those. I will start Monday with Monday Night Fights. There were 8 players in this week's Underworld Division event. They used bullet rounds Monday night. So they do the initial pairings. When one match finishes, they try to essentially start the next match immediately, pairing you up with someone you have not played. There were 4 bullet rounds, and then after that they cut to a top 4. The top 4 end up being in 4th place, Practice Site, playing as Practice Site. In 3rd place, the Starbreaker, Trey Cantrell, playing as Mumbata. In 2nd place, Robert the Brain Dunn, playing as Leader of the Black Sheep. And the winner, playing as Mike Santana, Jokerfish. Congratulations to Jokerfish for winning Monday Night Fights. Tuesday, we had the Possum Posse Invitational. I don't have a lot of information about this. I can tell you that the finals was a pig pen match. Your top 3 were in 3rd place, playing as the original donation, Cheetah. In 2nd place, playing as Sticky the Salamander Sailboat, Colby Cram, and the winner of the Possum Posse Invitational, playing as Captain Bartholomew Hook, the Starbreaker, Trey Cantrell. Congratulations to the Starbreaker for winning Tuesday's Possum Posse Invitational. Thursday, we had Chibi's Thursday Night Fights. This was an open division tournament. All singles competitors legal, subject to 2020 vision. 12 players, group stages, 3 groups, 4 players per group. Each player played the other 3 in the group. Top 2 records per group advance to the top cut. So we cut to a top 6. 2 buys into the semifinal round. The remaining players play off in the opening round. Unfortunately, I don't have the stipulations for this event in front of me. I wish I did. I can tell you that the top 4 were in 4th place playing as Warehouse, Sam Stanton. In 3rd place playing as Cassandra, the Italian Mambata. In 2nd place playing as the new, I believe unreleased, Player of the Year version of Ricky Riot, the SRG boss, and the winner of Chibi's Thursday Night Fights, playing as Amazing Red, Practicite. Congratulations to Practicite for winning Chibi's Thursday Night Fights. Saturday, we have Saturday Night Rumble hosted by Ron Rumble. 10 players from what I saw, was a group stage bullet round tournament, which I don't exactly know how that works. Because traditionally in a bullet round, you're just paired up against people as soon as they can give you a match to give one. In a group stage match, you have to play everyone in the group, so I'm not sure how that worked. But the 10 players in this tournament played in standard singles matches that started at crowd meter 1 in the preliminary rounds, and then afterward there was a cut to a top 8. In the quarterfinal round, the matches were cycle rules matches, starting at crowd meter 1, and the semifinal round, they were Beast Unchained matches, starting at crowd meter 1. The finals was a no disqualification match, starting at crowd meter 1, with the new version of Mark the Shark as the special guest referee. Both competitors could use Mark the Shark's gimmick in addition to their own competitors' gimmicks. The top 4 were in 4th place, playing as Cassandra, the Italian Bambata. In 3rd place, playing as the Grand Pack version of the Alien Invader, Sam Torres. In 2nd place, playing as Sticky, the Salamander Sailboat, Colby Cram. And the winner, playing as the new version of Copycat, the Danhausen version, the player of the era, John Polverino. Congratulations to John Polverino for winning Saturday Night Rumble. Sunday, we have Sunday Night Fights. Only one match on the match card for Sunday Night Fights. A match for the LFF Tornado Tag Team Championship. The challenger, Yasmin, playing as SRG Founding Fathers. The champion, Nick Nemesis, champion with Kitty Corn. The gimmick for SRG Founding Fathers makes the opponent choose to either blank the gimmick or allow the SRG Founding Fathers player to choose a stipulation for the match. Nick Nemesis played with his gimmick blanked. This was a relatively short match, 15 to 20 minutes. It ends up going to crowd meter 1. The winner at crowd meter 1, still champion, Nick Nemesis. Congratulations to Nick Nemesis for successfully defending the LFF Tornado Tag Team Championship. His next defense will be at DragonCon at the end of this month. No word who his challenger will be, but he will be defending against someone at DragonCon. After Sunday Night Fights, UCW streamed the UCW Hardcore Championship match. The challenger, the Flame Fighter, playing as DJ Outlaw. The champion, the Friend, champion with the original version of RJ Bombshell. This was a steel chain match. It ends up going to crowd meter 1. The winner, still champion, the Friend. Congratulations to the Friend for a successful defense. And while I'm congratulating people, I did not congratulate all of the Candy Shop Talk award winners. If I forgot to say congratulations, I apologize. Congratulations to all of the award winners. Coming up for next week, there will be Monday Night Fights. Chibi will be hosting Monday Night Fights. There will be no dojo Tuesday night. Wednesday, there will be Talk of the Universe, hosted by Chibi. Brian Waitford Schmidt is on vacation. There will be Stacked Card on the Big Picture Premium Twitch channel. There should be Expanding the Universe Thursday. There should be Chibi's Thursday Night Fights or another tournament Thursday night. Next Sunday on Sunday Night Fights is Championship Sunday. There will be 3 championship matches going from memory: the LFF Tri-State Tag Team Championship, the LFF Tag Team Championship, and the LFF World Heavyweight Championship. All 3 of those will be on the line next Sunday. The following week, in addition to Nova Open and Dragon Con, there will be 2 big match cards streamed. August 30th, Saturday night, Big Picture Premium will present The Big Show. A number of matches on that match card, including defenses of the AC Online Championship and the Hollywood Heavyweight Championship. I'll cover this in more detail on next week's show. Sunday, August 31st, will be Super Mania. There will be 3 matches on the match card, all using old school competitors, recreating classic wrestling matches, with the main event, the Unreal American Hunk Homeland versus Jean-Dre, the Gigantic Grenoble. With that being said, that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Outlaw Mudcast. I would like to thank all of you for listening, and good day.